All right, wait. Let's try that. Now, well, okay, so OBS is bouncing, so I think that audio is working. Yeah. I should have rebooted before setting everything up today. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? Where it's just like, why am I even bothering? Yeah, now you actually have to listen to me. That's so that's the trade-off. Either the audio doesn't work, so you don't get to hear the stream, or the audio works, and you have to hear the stream. It's going to be one or the other. Like, you got to pick. So, yeah, it's up to you, to whichever one you want. So today I'm actually going to take a bit of a break from a lot of the coding stuff that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, and deal with something that's been annoying me for a while, which is that the development experience, like the local dev experience, is a bit tedious. Like, you got to end up splitting the terminal a bunch of times and running a bunch of different processes. So one which is running the functions, one which is running the server. And I also wanted to have a play around with code spaces. So code spaces is something that we have for, essentially it's a hosted version of VS Code. And I'm sure at least one person in the chat is going to say, no, it's not just that, because you can do it with on full Visual Studio, I think, or that's in private preview and stuff. But yeah, I want to look. Can we move off a bunch of stuff from what is running on my machine and push that into like running hosted? So I'm going to use GitHub Codespaces, which is in a private public preview. We know that it's coming, but we're not actually, it hasn't been enabled for people outside of a beta group. I'm lucky enough to be in that beta group, which means that I can give Amy a hard time about the fact that she's not, so I get to play with it. But all the stuff also works in Visual Studio Online, so online.visualstudio.com. So you can sign up for Codespaces through here, and then that's just linked to MSDN subscriptions and Azure subscriptions and stuff like that. So yeah, you can come in here and set all of that up, and it's actually pretty much the same infrastructure behind the scenes. Just obviously the GitHub one is integrated directly with the GitHub repos. So we're going to go to our GitHub repo. And here we go. Now I can click code, open with Codespaces. Oh, actually, sorry. Before we do that, there's one thing I want to correct from last week's stream. So in last week's stream, we were setting up the multiple different API endpoints that we were going to be using for working with orders. So we had get all the orders, get a single order, and submit an order. So I made a comment that you can't have functions that are named the same, which is true, because when we create an Azure function, we have to give it an attribute, which is the function name attribute I've got here. Now, that function name has to be unique with inside of the functions that are being stood up. But that function name is also used on a HTTP trigger, such as this place orders one, to define the default path that trigger runs on. What I forgot was that you can then override that route, which I'm now doing here on the route section. Previously I had that set to null, or it just wasn't provided. But in there you can define the route. So it will start from /API unless you change some stuff in the host config for the Azure functions. And then it will be, so this will be /API/orders, and this is listing on post. What I was doing is I was using a functions proxy to then sit in front of a bunch of different named routes that were being generated from the function name, whereas in fact you can actually just go and set the route here and have different names. So I did some refactoring during the week, and now if we go to like get orders, so this is also listening on the route /API /orders. This is a get request, but the function name is different, so that each one has a different function name. So that's how you kind of have everything on the same route. You don't need to use proxies, because proxies essentially resulted in a double network hop. You'd come into the proxy, and then it would do an internal redirect across to the actual function that you're trying to hit. So I've pulled all the proxy stuff out, so you can see that that's in the code base, and that's up on GitHub as well. But yeah, I wanted to correct that from last week's, because yeah, it was a mistaken assumption that I had. I'd forgotten that it was the function name that you could override the route generated from the function name. So yeah, just you can simplify it a bit from where we were. Anyway, back to the task at hand, and that is setting it up so we can run in VS Codespaces. So I'm just going to hit open Codespaces, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I kind of know what happens because I've played with Codespaces on a few other projects, but I haven't done it with this one in particular. Now, this is a .NET Core application, so theoretically everything that I need will work on Codespaces, but we'll find out. And then, yeah, we're probably going to have to do some tweaking to get it to start all the processes appropriately and stuff like that. It also means that I might actually be able to debug this finally. I haven't been able to set a debugging breakpoint because of the way WSL Remote at least in my machine, WSL Remote is reporting something incorrectly back up to VS Code, which means it thinks that there isn't actually a UI attached, so I can't attach a debugger, and it gets really tedious when you're trying to do debugging when it goes, yeah, there's no debugger can be attached because you don't have a UI. I'm like, but how did I try and request a debugger? We'll see. So we're slowly opening this up. This is standing up I think essentially a VM, and we see that it has gone fantastically well. So this could be a very short stream. We have had an error. It has failed to start up the remote host. I wonder if I just reload. Like, do you reckon that's going to work? I might end up having to use the VS Codespaces, not GitHub Codespaces, because it might just not work. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be going as smoothly as I've had it run for the other projects that I've tried Codespaces with. Hilarious. Nope, there we go. That's looking a whole lot better. We do actually see code and things like that. Cool. So this will just open the root of the Git repo, which is not really where I want to be. So we're going to have to go through and change that so that, or at least internally, I'll select to open a new folder. There we go. Okay, cool. It looks like the container is all up and running that Codespaces is in. Cool. We've got a terminal, and now I can. Oh, I'm going to get a whole bunch of notifications, but I'm going to ignore those notifications in a minute because I actually want to go open folder, and then it's going to be the workspace source folder. This is actually, yeah, this is the root of the project. So this is actually where I want to be. So I'll just get Codespaces to navigate to there. So at least everything will be relative path to where the code exists, in theory, at least. Cool. So this is just running a fairly generic GitHub theme from the looks of it. Come to extensions, see what's installed. Yeah, okay. So it's installed like the C# one. I think it does that by default. But I'm going to need things like the Azure Functions extension. I probably want Ionide, which is the F# extension, and things like that. So I am going to tell it to restore all of the dependencies. We're going to ignore the stuff about Blazor debugging for the time being. So this is going to just basically perform a .NET restore, because at the moment I have 2,000 things in my to-do list. As Dave was pointing out, he uses the error as a to-do list in Visual Studio. I saw that on your stream the other day. You can stop telling me about what I need for WASM debugging. There's a lot in this to-do list. Hey, we're down to 1,000. Look how efficient I am at getting rid of bugs. We're down to 1,000, and then hopefully the rest are all going to go away, because there's some pretty unpleasant looking errors in there. The predefined type system.object is not defined or imported. I really hope that I can 950. Okay, we're getting there. I really hope that it's going to define system.object, because I sort of need that. Now, while that's running, the other thing I want to do with this is I've decided to install a new theme in my code. This is a theme called 1984. It's a little bit retro. It's got a whole bunch of other options. So this is just the cyberpunk one, or I could go to like bright pinks and purples. What's fancy? Oh, that's with I don't get italic font. Orwellian, yeah. No, I'm liking the cyberpunk stuff at the moment. So yeah, I'm just gonna change that. But I want all my themes and extensions and hopefully all these error messages to eventually go away. So we're gonna do that with our preference sync. So I'm gonna turn on preference sync. And I'm going to sign in with Microsoft, because I use Microsoft as the preference sync that I do out of Visual Studio Code on my local. Pick the right account. Wait for this to finish. There we go. I can close that window. And then that should come over to output. Okay, so because I've done this a few times and I've been playing around with a couple of different code spaces on projects, this is something that I stuffed up a few times. You probably want to either do merge or replace local. For me, I do replace local. So what it's going to do is it's detected that I have settings against the profile that I've already selected, which is that Microsoft one. And it's like, well, so what do you want to do with the settings that are already there relative to the stuff that you've got set up in this instance in code spaces? Do you want to merge the stuff that you've got here, or do you want to replace local? Merging, theoretically will be fine, but I've had a couple of instances where it's just basically corrupted what I had as my default settings, so I then had to basically roll everything back to 100% default, reinstall all the extensions that I had, stuff like that. So I just tend to replace local because I actually have pretty much all these extensions already installed. And the other settings, there's kind of no real other settings that I have here that are of particular relevance, at least not in code spaces that from default that I would want elsewhere. Now, so that, if we have a look at preference sync, cool, we can see it's finding all of the extensions, so this is probably going to refresh at some point in time. And I will need to reload this as well. Yep, there we go. Cool, we'll just navigate away from extensions, come back. Now we'll go reload window. Let's get it restart. And we wait for remote stuff. We'll know that it's worked when the theme changes, because that's really the clear indicator that something is different, is that, yeah, the theme will flip onto this lovely 1984 there we go, cyberpunk theme. Let's get rid of that one. And there we go. It's bringing. You can see all the other extensions I've got installed are starting to pop up. Like Azure, there's Ionide, fonts are all in. Okay, cool. So that's all well and good. Yeah. And now, at least in theory, this should all be just fine and dandy. I can even connect to it from VS on my desktop, but I'm going to not do that. I'm actually going to close the VS Code instance down here, and we'll see how far we can get just purely in the browser doing some of this stuff. The other thing that I need to set up is, or the other thing that I want to set up with this is a dev container.json. So a dev container.json is something that we can use for VS Code remote extensions for doing remote development inside of a Docker container. So this is slightly different to doing it inside of code spaces. If you wanted to do it locally, you can use a dev container to run it in Docker. But with that, we can actually control the stuff that needs to be pre-installed. Like we know we need to have .NET installed. We know we need to have npm installed. We probably should install the function core tooling at a global level, because that will just make things a little bit easier. We know what extensions we're going to want, things like that. So we might be able to use a dev container for this. And if memory serves correctly, if you've got a dev container JSON file, when a code space starts, it will find that and it will actually load that dev container for the code space. At least that's what I think. At least from memory, that's what it is. So, but let's just make sure that all of this stuff works. Cool. We've got ZSH, but it's not using my configuration, so I don't get my my spaceship view of the terminal there. I'm not getting told what the weather is. Actually, that would be a really interesting. I wonder what the weather would come up with, because it'll be based off of the IP of the machine that it's running on. Interesting. Maybe we'll see if we can get my terminal set up in there as well. But in the meantime, .NET restore, just in case that hadn't, that had finished. We're going to ASP.NET, and then we want the Blazing server, and we'll do .NET run, and we'll create a new terminal so that we can come into serverless. There we go. And then, I don't have the node modules installed. So yeah, npm. Actually, yeah. So this would be where npm i-g, because I kind of want, like I said, the function call tooling to be installed globally, because it just makes things a little bit easier. I don't want to put a package JSON in this project because it won't provide any value and stuff like that. So I'm just going to install it globally here. Come on, paste. No, you're not gonna let me paste. Oh, I'm gonna have to type that out. npm i-g Azure functions core tools at 3. So we'll install that. Let's go back to the terminal. Okay, cool. That's all up and running, but still getting listed a lot of errors. Let's just open up one of these. Am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anything. Like the code compiles and ran. That should mean I'm not missing anything, right? Oh, it looks. This does not look like. Oh, yep, here we go. Okay, let's hover over this one. This is going to be a fun error message. Look at that. INumeral is not defined because we're not referencing net standard, and neither is object. But the code all kind of compiles and works, so I'm just going to ignore all these error messages, because that's really just annoying, isn't it? And that's gonna make dev experience really bad if it's just gonna throw up error messages everywhere that aren't real error messages. If only I knew some people that were working on maybe like our tooling around .NET that I could ask this question of. Dave's still there. We're just going to go with red means it's a different color. It doesn't really mean anything in this context. So, yeah. 2. I have to work out why that's happening because that's going to, yeah, not really going to want to do remote dev if I get all sorts of error messages constantly. It'd be really tedious. Okay, cool. npx, oh yeah, npx func start. That's all I think I needed to do in that one. So npx should still work fine. Yeah, it should detect everything. Oh, actually, no, it won't work because I don't have the Cosmos stuff in there. So yeah, it's going to error out, isn't it? Let's see. Let's make sure I haven't deleted those files. Serverless functions. ls-la. Nice. Which clip? There we go. Cat local to clip. There we go. And we'll come back up here. We'll create a new file. That will be local.settings.json. And we move this down here. We're going to paste in so you don't get my Cosmos connection string. I don't know how I didn't know about this for so long, but there's a Windows there's a Windows app called Clip.exe, which allows you to that's writing stuff to the clipboard. So what I just did there with cat, so I cat that file and then pipe it through to clip, which I've aliased in WSL, and then I get stuff in the clipboard. So if we do like echo hello, and then pipe that to clip, I can then do Windows V, so bring up the paste history, and look at that. I can paste things out. It's really like, yeah, that's a nifty little one. Put that in the toolbox, clip.exe, or alias it if you're on WSL like I am. Okay, let's start this up again and see if we can get local settings running. See if there's any. There we go. Awesome. Looks like they're all up and going. Now we debug. So because this is running on Codespaces, so it's not on my machine, but everything is trying to run on localhost. So it's localhost 7071 and then localhost 5001 for the web server. They get exposed by Codespaces as remote ports. So if I come to the Codespaces section here in the Explorer lists on VS Code Codespaces thingy here, and then Codespaces details, you see as the name, the repo. It's going to suspend after 30 minutes. I think that's 30 minutes of inactivity, not just 30 minutes of usage. If that is, it's be a stream in like 4 parts because I'll have to keep restarting. But then I can click on that link, which is going to launch me up to a new tab. And it's detected that I've got a couple of web servers running and they're all bound to various ports. So 5000, 5001 and 7071. And then it makes those available as forwardable ports that you can connect to from the browser. And look at that, it doesn't work. Isn't that great? Okay, so that one hasn't worked. Let's try port 5000. And while we're at it, we're going to go term 1 and just make sure that it is... No. Hey, look, there's my Cosmos stuff anyway. Term 1. Yeah. Okay, so it's there. Okay, so we got HTTP GET. At least it thinks it's doing something. Oh, no, of course, that's not going to be localhost. Oh, interesting. The redirect has kind of stuffed up. So that's something that we're going to have a look at how to effectively fix. So what's happened is that if we go to program.cs on the server, startup.cs on the server, just ignore all of these error messages that are popping up. So this web server has got a configuration that says use HTTP redirection. So what's going to happen is as soon as the server starts up, if I make a request on HTTP, it's going to redirect you across to a HTTPS endpoint. So that's what's happened here. Is it's gone and stood up, and then it's gone, oh, actually no, we're going to bounce you across to HTTPS. But it's bounced me across to localhost, because that's what it is, right? It's a local, it's just a redirection, because it thinks that it should have been on localhost originally. I wonder if that's actually fixable. So let's just try opening up the HTTPS endpoint again and see whether it was. Yeah, it's definitely not recognizing the requests coming in for the HTTPS endpoint. That's a problem. I mean, the easiest solution is to just not run it on HTTPS, because I don't necessarily need it running on HTTPS, because it's already sort of HTTP. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to kill that for the moment, and we'll come back. So it's a good thing to know is we're going to have to come back and look at how we can fix the use HTTPS redirection. But let's just do .NET run and see if we can hit the website itself. The other thing we're gonna have to do is change the endpoints that all the APIs are being looked for, because they're expected to be on localhost 7071, which is not where the Azure functions are exposed on. They're going to be exposed at some other URL, they'll be exposed at this URL wherever we redirect through to. We'll see if that one's working. pterm2. Yep, okay, so it looks like, so the Azure function is up and running. Yeah, it's just telling me that I've just landed on the default page. I didn't hit a specific route. That's good. Let's come back to term 1. Okay, so that's up and running. Yeah. So we're going to hit the port 5000. So the non-HTTPS port, which, like I said, it's not a problem for this development, because you'll see that it's being served out as HTTPS anyway through the Codespaces URL and the port forwarding that's done. Yeah, so that's interesting. I wonder how it's going to appear as an inbound request to the server, whether it'll think it's HTTP or HTTPS. Yeah, so now this is going to fail, because we'll see if we look in the network tab. I have to reload. Whoops. I have to reload with the network tab up. We'll see what's happening back here. It should fail to hit the API endpoints. Yeah, so hitting specials. So yeah, because they're on port, on a localhost endpoint. Right. Okay. We're gonna have to kill that again, because I didn't do a run. Let's just do .NET watch run, and now we're gonna go through to program inside of the client. I wonder if that's the endpoint that I could use. Builder.host environment base address. I wonder what that is actually displaying. Let's see if we can do this. Console write line. Just want to know what this address might be. And I'm going to assume that I can console write line in this and get that out to the output that's appearing in the WebAssembly application when it runs. Just come to console. I mean, I know that console write line statements are converted into console.log for the dev tools, and it's clearly doing. Oh, yep. Okay, sweet. It is. There we go. Nice. So we can see here that it is actually getting that URL. It's not getting the localhost endpoint. That's what I was worried about, is that it would try and get localhost, and that's where I think we can see that the OpenID Connect stuff. The OIDC, it does think it's still on localhost as well. So we're going to have a challenge with the auth stuff. I thought this was going to be a simple one. Nothing's ever simple. I'm going to create a new function. We'll go private static string. What is it? No, Yuri. Get base address. If someone's going to tell me that the red squiggles are the problem, I think I've worked that one out. Thanks, Moot Pointer. That's a string, right? Yeah, string base address. Now. So this will be get base address. Now, I'm gonna want to, yeah. So we're gonna if base address dot contains localhost. We'll just return Yuri of base address. So if it's on localhost, we're just going to return out like so. That's if it's local development. If base address contains code space, is it code space or code spaces? Code spaces. Return new Yuri. Base address dot replace 5000 with 7071. So this URL here, this base address here that I'm getting is what's used by the API to work out where it needs to go for the API endpoint. So yeah, if it's running on localhost, what might be better to do in the long run is if it's localhost, or have some way to do deterministic whether it's running in a Blazor hosted application or a Blazor static application, and that's where you can determine whether it's using the API endpoint that's inside of itself or whether it's the API endpoint of an Azure Functions. And then I'm just going to return a new Yuri of base address as kind of the fallback default for the minute. Because yeah, I'm trying to work out if there's a good way from the hosting environment to work out if it's in a Blazor core application, an ASP.NET Core hosted Blazor application or a static hosted Blazor application. But that should work. Yeah. Oh, these red squiggles are really, really tedious. Makes it very difficult to determine what bugs they actually have in the code. Okay, let's see. So with that change, we should be able to now. Okay, cool. You've failed on that one, but it didn't. Oh, yeah, I know why that happened. And now, whoops. Now what we can do is we can actually undo a bunch of changes that I've done in the client, because previously in here I was hard coding this host. So if we just get rid of that from there, so it's just going to become API orders, yep. And then wait, that's orders. Pages is the index just doing it inline? It is just getting specials inline. And then toppings. Oh, where was toppings? Toppings is in like component library, I think. No. Toppings was in some really random location. Configure pizza dialog, it might have been. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Right, okay, so they've all, I think, saved, so maybe they're going to work. URI is a word. URI is the proper word for the thing that you type into the browser. I actually came across this, just whilst stuff's happening there, split window. I came across this extension, or not extension, a node application the other day. So I just wanted to try it out. So we're just going to split a tiny little window there. And then if we go TC connect number 1 Aaron, actually. Oh, look at that. How do I... Control B. Actually, no. I'm going to kill that. I want something a little bit bigger. Whoa. Whoa. Killed that window. There we go. And let's make that 20. Let's go to 40. There we go. TC connect. And look at this. I can have my Twitch chat just inside of the terminal. Was there some character encoding coming back? Yeah. Oh, I wonder how far back it's going to pick up the chat inside of there. Look at that. Now, hey, I can see it. It doesn't have emote support, but I can deal with that. Yeah, look at that. Twitch chat running from directly within inside of a terminal, and yeah, there's going to be some interesting. Yeah, you can heckle. No, this is not Bash. This is ZSH. Now I can actually see it when you're annoying me, and then I just Alt Tab away, and it goes. Okay, let's reload again. We'll see if we can finally download the list of pizzas. No, localhost. Did it not reload? Did it not reload? Let's restart. Unless there is still someone that's got localhost on 7071. I don't think there's anywhere left. No, there's no one left that should be doing localhost 7071. So we'll just see. It might not have rebuilt one of the files properly. Now it's reloaded. Yeah, if I put this up though, you do realize that all of your words are now stored forever in YouTube as well. People think Twitch chat history is just a transient thing, but no. Now it's on screen. Now it can appear in the history that's going to go up on YouTube, because the video is also being live streamed to YouTube at the same time. Yeah, no, I'm not crazy enough to turn notifications on. Okay, it looks like we hit the specials endpoint. Wait. Oh, what's there? Go away that. Startup. No, program. Yeah, if it contains code spaces. Base address replace 5000 with 7071. I thought that the base address should have then filtered through to the client requests. It's not going to tell me what the point of that base address is. That's what I was sure it was for. But if we have a look in here, the network, it's just tried to do it on... To your question there, Andrew, on how do I have a subnet of that? Well, it's not a subnet. That's the external IP address. When OBS is running, I generate I display fake IP addresses so that I'm not publishing out my actual IP address while streaming. It was pointed out to me on some streams that I was publishing what my home IP address is, and that's not really ideal. Okay, so I was sure that changing the base address for the HTTP client meant that when a request came in here, it would use that. Let's just make sure it is actually setting it. Let's go var URI equals return URI console.writeLine URI and then save. Okay, cool. So you're coming there, Andrew. So I deleted all of the stuff out of the Razor files because my understanding is that this base address that I'm setting up on line 18 here is the base address that is then getting set on the client requests. So inside of order client, when it does get from JSON async, I thought it was like it would use that base address as the host to hit on there, that it doesn't just go to fall back to localhost or fall back to the current address, so you end up doing cores. Now, but let's just try. Let's get some console.writeLine statements happening. Okay, start it up. Wait, console. Well, that's probably the problem because it didn't hit the branch that it didn't hit this line. That's fine, because now what I should be able to come here and do is .NET Core attach. I should be able to actually set a breakpoint if, oh dear, I can work out which one it is. I'm gonna say that one. Are you saying because I've relative pathed inside of the client that it ignores the base address? Andrew, is that the what you're getting at with that comment? Oh wait, that breakpoint's not going to work because actually let's stick a breakpoint here. No, I'm connected to the wrong thing. Yeah, so I was reading on it yesterday, and I was pretty sure that the point of the can't put a breakpoint there because that's running in WebAssembly. Now I need to go read that thing that it kept telling me about doing Blazor debugging. Disconnect. So my breakpoints aren't going to work anyway. We'll come back here. I'm going to just do console.writeLine base address. Save that. Yeah, because it won't have localhost in there anywhere. Term 1. Let's see. So should theoretically be up and running. Wait. That's what I wanted. Blazor debugging VS Code. Given that it keeps telling me that I need to read up how to debug Blazor, it's time to actually open up that, see what it says. But let's come into here and we'll see what's happening. So we should get a statement. Does it not even hit? It's not even hitting that code that I've written. Why do you not respect my code? Oh, interesting. So it's not actually evaluating. Of course, because I'm setting it on the wrong base address. I gotta do it on this one. Get base address. I forgot there's actually two HTTP clients used. There's a typed HTTP client and a untyped HTTP client. I'll just reload that. So on line 17, we're adding to the container a untyped HTTP client. So that's where it does add scope, HTTP client, base address, blah, blah, blah. And then on line 18, we're adding a scoped HTTP client, a typed HTTP client, which is of type order client, which is this file here. But it takes a dependency on HTTP client, so it actually gets passed in. The reason that you would be doing that is that if we have a look at index, this is just doing HTTP client.get from JSON. And that's injected as a dependency using the inject directive inside of Blazor. And this is for like if you're doing requests where you don't need to do any sort of interception for them. You just want to fire off a request and get a response back and parse it out as JSON. Whereas the requests where we're doing stuff with the orders, so get orders, get order, and submit order, those, well, we probably want to do some stuff like add authentication to it. So this is where you might use as a typed HTTP client. And you don't have to. You can use an untyped HTTP client. You still put messages handles on it, but it can help you differentiate the requests and whether you're doing requests that might have some additional stuff happening in their either inbound or outbound pipeline. So the requests that we go to get, like the specials and the toppings, those are unauthenticated requests. You can just hit the endpoint and it'll download all the specials. Whereas when you want to get the client, when you want to get the order information, you want to get that for the current user. So they add this message handler, base address authorization message handler, which will put in the bearer token before the outbound request. Now, if I was just using the plain HTTP client, I'd either have to add that to even unauthenticated requests. So then you'd have to sign in to do anything on the application, or I'd have to have like other logic that worked it out. So this is how you can do requests across multiple different endpoints. And now that that's reloaded, we'll see that it's worked just the way that we kind of hoped and were expecting it to. Because what has happened is I forgot to set the base address on the untyped HTTP client. Now I can come in, I can remove all these console write line statements, and we'll just return that. Done, save, and then we're one step closer to getting things up and running. So we'll just reload that now that I've removed lines. It should be fine though. Cool. We are getting what we wanted. If I do a login, I'll actually have to create an account. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to log in because I need to fix the. At the moment, it's looking at localhost for the OIDC stuff, and I would have to work out how. I'm not quite sure where that's configured, so we're not going to do login just yet. But let's open a new terminal. Create. And we'll see, get status. Okay, so what have we done? Get diff. Let's just check all the things that we've changed. All right, so that's... Okay, so really the only thing that we don't want to commit out of this is the remove HTTPS redirection. So we'll get add interactive, and we're going to do... 5, 1, 2, 4. Yep. Yep. Oh, actually, we'll just go all because everything in that file, everything in that file, in that file. Go, quit, get status. Excellent. Commit -m. Oh, actually, what branch am I in? I'm in the right branch, aren't I? Get branch. Yeah, get commit -m. Refactoring to better understand different hosts. Cool. It still won't be ideal for local development on a cloned locally done machine because of the fact that's still going to be on localhost. But we'll slowly chip away at some of this stuff because at the moment we can't host it outside of an ASP.NET Core hosted application anyway. Now, what's the next thing? Let's see about the dev container stuff because maybe dev containers I can use to get rid of all these darn red things that are appearing telling me that I've got errors. So let's go to VS Code dev container. I actually haven't played with dev containers for quite a long time. I know they exist and I know some of the basic stuff for them. So this will be a good bit of an experiment. Okay, so basically we create a dev container.json file and that tells it how it's going to work. And it will take care of the volume mounting and all that sort of stuff. So let's install in Docker. So we can do quick starts, but we're not going to do a quick start. We're just going to create a dev container. Configure a sandbox for multiple projects or folders. No, I think we'll just start here and we'll see where we can get to. Okay, so I can come to, I have to go to Docker and work out what the base image I need is, but first we will make a new file, .dev containers / dev container.json. Oh dear. There we go. It's .dev container, not dev containers. So we'll just rename that. Dev container. There we go. There we go. We get a pretty little icon. Now we will need a dev container running. We're going to be a .NET one. Really? Is there not a .NET dev container? There has to be a .NET dev container. Try existing containers. Oops, no. Try C. .NET Core, yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to github.com. What did it say? Microsoft VS Code remote try .NET Core. Microsoft VS Code remote try .NET Core. Because really all we need to do is just copy and paste the dev container from here. Ooh, they're running a Docker file as well. I wonder if I'm going to need that. Painfully, I think yes. Okay, so extensions, yeah, okay. What have they got as their base one then? So we're going to have a Docker file. Okay, yeah. So it's using the standard .NET Core one. Okay. Wow, it is doing a lot of stuff. Configure and install certificates. Hopefully not. I wonder, does this container actually come with Node in it? I'm just going to start my local Docker instance, and we'll see if we end up with Node pre-installed, or we're going to have to script the install of Node into our Docker container as well. They're using NVM. Okay, cool. Yeah. Or does it come with NVM? Let's see there. Common Debian. There's some interesting stuff happening in this one. Runs apt-get update if we want to install Node. Okay, then they pull down NVM, then they install the version of Node. Well, I don't think we want to do all of that just yet. Actually, no. I'll just do this on the primary window. Where's the window? That one. Okay. Now this, so wait, what's this image? It'll be that, and we'll use 3.1 docker run. Actually, Docker. Let's have a look what Docker images I've got. Do I have the .NET 1 images? No, I do not. Docker run rm. So it that 3.1-alpine. I'm going to assume that there's an alpine build. I've got Bionic. There should be an alpine. See if it's there. Yep, sweet. Just because this is going to be a smaller image for us to get it up and running. I just kind of want to have a look what's inside of it. But we'll probably use we might use Bionic as the base image here anyway. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to need to run a Docker file though, because I'm going to need to install Node, because we will need that. But I mean, it kind of makes sense that we'd run a Docker file to do some setup, because we're going to need to install Node. We want to set up like the Azure functions tooling in there as well. So yeah, we may as well just pre-script all of that. And that's the point of the dev container, is that it stands all of this stuff up for you. You don't have, like, the only thing you kind of do is you would come in and then do a .NET restore on the root of the project and then be up and running. I'm assuming with a dev container I can specify where like the starting location is. I can specify the ports that we're exposing, inspecting volumes, and the extensions. Like that's kind of the two key things that I really want. Is to have those set up. Debugging in a container. let's look at the full reference. So image, build with a Docker file. Yep. Mounts. Okay, cool. So I can do mounts and specify where the workspace mount is. Yeah. Although I might not need to do it if I put the dev container in the right location. Okay, so which.net. So .net is obviously installed. .net list SDKs. Yep. And which node. No, which apt? Oh no, I'm on Alpine, so I don't have apt. Okay, cool. Well, it's got .NET there. That'll be our starting point. Now the question is going to be: can I use the dev container? Can I dev the dev container with inside of here? One problem at a time. Let's set up. Let's just copy and paste the dev container from the sample here. And whoops, come into here, we'll paste that in. Okay, remote user, volume out. So we're going to need C#. We'll put a couple in there. We'll leave bin bash as the default shell. Install. Actually, we might use some of. Yeah, we're going to go install node true. No, because there's no point in doing that. Because we know we have to install node. Yeah, it's going to be 5001 and 7071. So those are the ports that we need. To reuse your local HTTPS dev certs. Maybe not. Mounts. We don't need any additional mounts over the top of what we would normally get. Update variant if we want a different .NET Core. No, that's what we want, I think. Yeah. No, I probably actually want docker.net. Let's have a look at what's the latest .NET one. So I think there's going to be a newer one. I think 3.2 something it'll be, but I'll just check if it's 3.2. We'll look at Docker Hub. What have we got here? No, it is going to come as 3.1. No, it's this one. It's the SDK. Yeah, we'll use the full SDK for that. Yep. 3.1, and then we use Bionic. Yeah, I'm not going to. Oh, actually. Let's go to new version of of Ubuntu there. So we'll come here. We're going to change Bionic to that. And then again, I can probably actually get rid of a lot of that stuff. Docker file. And the name, actually, let's go name. That will be Blazing Pizza. Yep. And then in Dockerfile, I'm just going to rip off their Dockerfile and then remove the stuff that we don't need. Come here to Roar. It's MIT license, which means you can just grab it, get rid of that. There's no point passing through this variable. It's not going to give us any. There's no. Yeah, because realistically, I want it hard coded there. So the Dockerfile adds a non-root user with sudo access. Use the remote user property in the dev container to use it. Okay, well, let's do that. Just going to get rid of those because we're not going to install the Azure CLI or anything like that. We do want to do an app update. We're going to. Wait, did I just delete common char? Common script char. I probably need to leave that common stuff in there. We'll have a look at what that file is in a minute. We'll get rid of the node stuff, and we'll get rid of the Azure CLI, because I'm not going to install those in here. Yep, so we'll do some app updates. We won't install ZSH. That's just install. Yeah, no, we're not going to install ZSH. And then we will install Node. Yep. And so we'll get rid of that stuff. We'll just do and apt install Node.js. Just check. I don't think I need a new registry. I think it's just install Node from other downloads. Windows install Linux? No. Install Node Ubuntu. Shouldn't be that weird, was it? No, it's apt search node. Apt search node. I just install it off that. I think. Oh yes, of course. All right. Yeah. Do I need to add a new registry to install from? Using app to install. Okay. Apt search Node.js. So what's the default one that I get? Where is the Node package? Where is Node? Where is Node? Node. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's like painfully out of date. We're not going to install that. We're going to use the PPA. Be sure to replace with preferred version. No, so we're going to have to do that. And then we will be able to install, theoretically. Okay, so we're going to need to add PPA for that. And then we will do and apt update. And whoops, let's add that new line. Apt install Node.js. On the PPA, it still comes as a Node.js, isn't it? Yep. Cool. So that should install it, clean up, and then that should automatically clean up everything. Sweet. All right. Now, which Docker? Do I have Docker in? Yeah, cool. I can run Docker in here. Yeah, let's go Docker. Oh no. cd dev container. Docker run rmit. Oh no, I got to build that, don't I? Docker build dot dash t test. Let's just spin up this image and make sure that it does work. So obviously I want to make sure that it is actually installing the things that I hope it's installing. So much faster pulling containers down like this than it is doing it all locally. Okay. Have we done that? Ah, apt update, yep. Apt, no hyphen. There we go. Let's try again. Ooh. App does not have a stable CLI interface. Oh, so you do just want me to do like app. Yeah. Apt get update, and we'll just do apt get install. So we use it like that. We'll just rebuild. It's installing. Yep. Oh wait. Forgot to do a -y. Install. Okay, Docker run rm it test. Which node? Cool. Node -v. It's annoying. I wanted it at version 14. Let's have a look. Apt search node JS. Okay, well, that's annoying. It didn't pull down a new one. Oh. Apt get update. Okay, so did it add the new location? No. No. Oh wait, no, that's yeah. Not slash node sh dot slash node. Oh wait. Whoa, unexpected. What the heck happened in that file? Oh yeah. So I should actually run that file once it's installed. That would help. Bash node. There we go. And yeah, it won't run through sh because it's not designed as an sh script. Oh well, that's learning experiences. So we do that. We go. So I'm probably not going to need to do the apt up. Here we go. We just go bash node source setup.sh. And we'll do docker build -t test rebuild. Okay. Oh, no, hang on a sec. There was still an error message popped up in there. Warning app key should not. Okay, that's fine. There we go. So it is installing the right version of Node. So docker run. Where's my docker run? So node -v should be node 14 .NET list SDKs. Excellent. Okay, so it looks like our container is there. Well, at least that's ready to go. So once we've installed you, we can then $ampersand npm install -g Azure functions core tools at 3, and then we'll put that onto a new line. All right, well, that should be the dev container done, I think. Only one way to try it. Git status, git add. Actually, no, let's go. Oops, up the directory, and we're going to git co check out this file. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. SPNet blazing pizza startup. So I'll just get rid of that change. Git status. Add. So add a dev container. Commit shem. Adding a dev container. Now, we've still got other stuff to do with the dev container, like I want to set it up so that it has the extensions installed and things like that. But first things first, let's get this working. At least see if we can load the code base in there. Now, can I open? No, I don't have the dev containers stuff available here, do I? Let's come back. No. Let's go dev container. No. Remote container. I think that's the extension name. Yeah, that's the one I want. Isn't it? Yeah. I wonder if I can install remote containers in... No. I can't install remote containers there. Duh. That's disappointing. Oh. Let's go back to let's go back to the GitHub repo, and we'll see if we can open it in code spaces in that dev container. Let's go back to the serverless branch though, because that's where all of our stuff is. Oh, I forgot to push. Pro tip, you still have to actually push even if you're working in a code space. Close down some of these tabs that I'm not needing at the minute. And there we go. Come on, start up my terminal. So let me push. There we go. Git push. Oh, come on. How is it slow? There we go. Excellent. Okay. And then we're just going to pop back. And we'll see if we can now open this one newly in our dev container. The problem is probably going to be that the dev container will want to be at the very root of the repo, won't it? Yeah. Let's have a look at the docs. So about remote containers. So yeah. File in the projects. Okay, so no, it just says the code spaces can be customized within the project's repository. It doesn't say it has to be at the root. So let's see. Let's see if it does pick up that dev container. Otherwise, we can move it to the root. I mean, it's not a big deal, and then we'll give it a try. Okay, there's the README. Okay, creation log. That's the one I was looking for, because this is going to tell us how it's gone and spun up the code space. So this is where we would expect to see it talk about the dev container. At least that, this is where I would be looking for it to talk about the dev container if it pops in and detects it. And if it doesn't, then, well, we'll just move it up to the root. Yeah. I don't think it's detected it. Yeah. Looks like it's just gone with the default container. That's all right. We'll move the dev container up to the root. Yep, we'll move that. So open the terminal. Status. Yep. So we've moved the dev container to repo root, git push. Now we will just pop back to here, and we're actually going to destroy this dev container that we literally just created because it's not really useful for us anymore. I don't want that one around. And you can see that now I've got multiple ones. That one was the one that was created 3 minutes ago, so we'll delete that. Oh, it has unpushed changes. Really? Just have a quick check. No. We've got backups. And anyway, like the only thing I would have had was the dev container. Yeah, it's at the root. Now, I'm not sure what files it's talking about. Maybe I had something auto-generated, some logs appearing or something. Let's kill that container. It was created 4 minutes ago. Don't worry about the fact there was there's stuff that was unpushed. Now, let's see if this code space picks up my dev container. Initializing, that's the first step. Oh, come on. Come on. Do I take the fact that it's taking a whole lot longer as a good sign that it's doing something different? Yeah. Let's have a look at the logs. Okay. Ah, yes. I reckon it is doing it. Because it has found dev container. Yeah. Just keep having a look at the... Yes, excellent. It's picked up our dev container. Yep, there's one of those warnings that we get along the way. Oh. Something returned an error. Azure function... Oh, here we go. Didn't like trying to do the... I wonder why it didn't like attempting to get that. Permission denied. Was it running as a user that doesn't have permission to... Interesting. So it's failed to build the container. That's possibly a problem. How do I get back to my working container then? We're gonna have to go back to here. Blazor serverless. Let's maybe pin this one. This is the working one. And that one's the dead one. So we come in. One that works. You know what I'm actually really surprised about today? There has been no disaster outside of my house. Last week, anyone that was watching last week's stream, I was utterly confused because there was something going on outside the house, and I thought it was an accident. Found out after the stream what had actually happened. There was a mulching machine had gone down to the park at the end of our street from the council had organised. But they got the machine down there and they decided that they didn't have enough space to do what they wanted to do down there. So they brought it, I've got to pull here. So they came back up our street and while coming up our street, they didn't lower themselves enough and they took out the power line going into my next door neighbor's house. So it was like they were very close to pulling down our power lines as well, which would have been a great addition to the stream if I had have lost power, because the week before I lost internet for about 15 minutes. And yes, as Jack has pointed out on the chat, there is still an opportunity for something to go horribly wrong. Let's just hope it doesn't. Okay, we got our dev container back. Git status. Yep, okay, cool. I got nothing there. I wonder why. Oh, good. There's probably more red error messages popping up around the shop. Now I'm going to have to go back to outer code spaces. Let's kill that code space that didn't work. We'll come here and docker. Actually, let's go to cd.dev containers. Oh, the code's going wrong all the time. There's nothing that'll stop that from happening. As long as I don't get the power pulled out again, or close to getting power pulled out. So like they fully ripped the power line out of my neighbor's house. So there was a live wire running across our street, and my wife had also just got home at the same time. So she was out on the street, and yeah, there was a live power line running across. So it was fun. Fun times. Docker build -t .-t test. Now let's see. Let's see if I can get a better look at that error message that was happening. Okay, so we're setting up. Got Node installed. And then the function to call toolings. Okay, now I wonder if that is... No, it can't make a directory there. Well, that's going to be fun. Let's go off the last one. Run rmit test. npmi-g. Azure functions core tools at 3. Let's see. Is it just because it's running inside of the... Nope. I'm running as root. ls/user. Does that... Is it? Yeah, user... lib. But I'm running as I'm running as a super user, aren't I? So why can't you write to that? Well, let's just see if I can do mkdir. So where does it want to make the directory? It wants to make there. Ah. Let's just Control C. Nope. Ah, darn it. Just gonna right click, copy and paste. Nope. We'll see. mkdir. Nope. User lib node Azure functions core tools. So okay, npmi-g Azure. Okay, so let's just try the install again if the directory is already there. Nope. Well, that's frustrating. Hey, look, something going wrong. But that folder doesn't have anything in it. User lib node Azure. Wait. Or is it trying to symlink? No, it shouldn't be symlinking. Not until the stuff's downloaded. Well, let's just try. Let's see. Let's go to the. Okay. npm i-g. No, not -g. Azure functions core tools at 3. Can I install it just to the current user? Looks like it. Well, which func? Maybe that's why they were using NVM inside of the Docker container. All right, let's try with NVM then. So we'll come back here. We'll grab those because that's the NVM stuff. And kill the terminal, Docker file. Paste some of this stuff back in. But we're not going to use that, and we're not going to use the args. We're just going to hard code the version of Node that we're going to install. That, and then oops, inside of here, we'll grab that optional chunk, which is pretty epic. Bit of bash, that. Now, so that's doing install nvm. It's not install yarn. We don't need to install yarn. Anyway, yarn's a package manager. Why would you install it from there? Now, so we're installing nvm. Okay. The default is going to be 14. So we're just going to install nvm. We're just going to install node 14, and then we're going to get rid of this thing that says that it's optional because we're just going to need that regardless. Delete that. So we set up source, we do an install, then we're going to npm i install -g Azure functions core tools at 3. Okay. Ooh. Boom. I'm gonna get rid of that new line character there. So I don't like having that one there. Okay. Now Docker build .-t test. Let's see if this time it will build. Much bigger, chunkier node setup. Okay, so we've got a invalid option -p somewhere. Wait, did I delete an npm directory or something? Okay. So I deleted install node and node version. Yeah. Okay. So I wonder where the -p. There's an RM somewhere that it's not liking. Let's have a look at where the -p's happen. So we curl, that's fine, run source, and the alias of node, and then if nvm Then we run it, add the bash completion. Cool. And if we don't have access to it, we give it access. No, it's this -p here. Wait, no, sorry. RM invalid. Wait, where's the RM? Need an ampersand. I need the double ampersand there to get it to run. Because so the script that I copied it from, that big chunk basically starts a if block, and then the double ampersand opens up the if block, and because this is essentially running like a new script kind of inside of that, so I don't need to prefix the double ampersand to chain it on to the next the previous step with make directory, but because I removed the if block, I needed to add that back in. Chain it. Okay, so it hasn't liked the fact that there's no bash rc. Cool. I mean, there shouldn't need to be a bash rc. Yeah, does it matter if there's no bash rc? I wonder if that's what happens in this common Debian. But we're running that, I think. Let's have a look at this script. What's it doing? Bash rc. Yeah, it does set up a bash rc. And I thought I still ran that. Let's have a look. Yeah, we do it. ZSH. No, I don't want to do the ZSH stuff. Wait, was that actually the error? No. So T. Yeah, I don't need to do that. Wait, we need to. Let's just do this. Man T. Yep. Yeah. T options file. So it is getting the standard input. It is then outputting it into those files. No. -A. Append to the files. And then we redirect more output into ZSHRC. Okay, well, I can get rid of that. I don't need to output to the root ZSHRC because we're not setting up ZSH, at least not at the moment. And then I'm going to get rid of that too. We will not need that one. We're not adding ZSH. Okay. Let's try build again. Or is it going to be upset? Like, did it not find the bash rc file? Yeah, it's not finding a bash rc file. Warning version 14 does not exist. Really? So it didn't actually install. It didn't. NVM is way too much effort. Okay, well, we will just be lazy and we will just use. Just going to grab that whole file. Better. This is getting tedious, and it's like let's just chuck in everything that we know works, and then we'll pair it back. But I'll get rid of the Azure CLI because I know I don't need that. Install node true, and then that just means that in the dev container, JSON file. I need to pass in another arg, which is install node dev container JSON. Let's just check. What was it? Install node version. Yeah, we'll install those, and that will be true. So it's just going to install the latest LTS version. If this works, then we can start paring back stuff that we don't actually need. Or we're probably going to run out of time, more accurately. Wrap this up in about 15 minutes time, but yeah, we'll possibly run out of time. Okay. So we're installing. Setting up all these variables. Then we're going to run. Yep. So we're in, okay, there's some dependencies installed. Are we down to Node yet? I don't think we're down to Node. Whoa. Yeah, this is okay, this is doing a lot more stuff. I think that maybe on the previous script I'd been too aggressive in removing things. And it wasn't setting up everything that we were going to need. I mean, this is still setting up things like ZSH, and I don't necessarily need ZSH, like because I can configure what the default terminal is. Yeah, like, it's configuring like oh my ZSH and everything, which I'm cool with because I use oh my ZSH anyway. But when you're trying to set up just like a simple, easy to use thing, like the amount of stuff this has got to clone is pretty epic. All right, it's built. Ship it. It's status. Add -a. Commit. We are using the demo dev container files, and we'll push those. Come back to the Blazor workshop. Let's get rid of the code space that we. Oh, damn it. I'm on the wrong branch. So now I'm going to have multiple code spaces that I want to get rid of. Is that push? There we go. Okay, push is done. Now we go to code spaces. Kill that one. Interesting. So you actually get code space per branch. I wonder if so you can only do 5 code spaces at the moment. I don't know if that's going to be changed after the official release. But I wonder if it's 5 per branch then. Let's go back to the Blazor workshop and let's delete that one I accidentally stood up in the on the master branch. So that's not needed. I don't need to be running a bunch of code spaces that I don't actually use. Yeah. Fascinating. I'm really surprised that the code spaces for different branches don't appear when you hit code space. But all good. Okay, so this one, let's see. Pick up, there we go. We'll pick up our dev container. Pulling down a bunch of stuff. Now, theoretically, you could push this dev container as a base image to like your company's registry, if you've got one, or like, even Docker Hub to speed up the steps, because this is obviously got to run that Docker build every time, which can obviously be a little bit slow, particularly down here in Australia where the internet is suboptimal at the best of times. Even now, this is taking a little bit. Yeah, I did warn at the start, Moot Pointer, that this was going to be not a particularly codey thing. It is very much let's try something that has it's been annoying me, the local dev experience, and I don't know if I've made it better or worse. To be honest, like It's been smooth so far. That's for sure. Yeah. At least now we might have a dev container that runs. Oh, it's still installing yarn, isn't it? Didn't delete that. Ooh, reconnect now. Or did I kill the wrong one? No, I didn't kill the wrong one. Let's have a look. I think I left in yarn. Bah, I left yarn in. Smooth. This is going as smooth as a freshly shaven yak. But you want to know the best thing is that this was just to make sure that I could run in a dev container. It's not even running in the right. Like I'm not opening the right location with the dev container. I want to set the workspace somewhere different, and I'm not installing the correct extensions. I am loading up the right ports though, so you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. Oh, come on. Hurry up and load everything. We can see now that it's not. It is actually in the dev container. See, it's got a completely random place there. And why do I have an error on the workspace? Don't tell me it just didn't mount the files. Unable to open workspace. Unable to read. Timeout reached. Yay! We're back as where we started today with a timeout error. Going smooth. Come on, just open my workspace properly. Inside of a container, running on a remote server. Because you want to have. Yeah, okay, cool. Now weird. I wonder what that timeout error is about. Oh no. This is just loaded like the default code space. Didn't run my dev container this time. That will be highly disappointing. But if it hasn't worked, this will just be yet another learning experience. I can. No, we're definitely somewhere different. Yeah. I mean, let's have a look. If I scroll back up, no. I think I've just landed in a default dev container. No. There's the yarn install. Okay, no, I think we are. Node version. So what's the version of Node? It's not the right version. NVM use, NVM list. NVM use default. Because 12 is the, 12's that is the current latest LTS. Node version. So what's the version of Node here? 12.16.3 and I got 12.18.2. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is not the default dev container. Excellent. The problem is that I forgot to actually install what I needed to install, which was the Azure Function Core Tools. So we're going to delete yarn, finally. And we will do apt get not apt get. npm install -g Azure Functions Core Tools at 3, and then that save. Actually, before we do that, we're going to do npm install -g Azure. So we'll do it inside of the container that got generated for us, just to make sure that it does work. Because like theoretically, this is just the Azure that's not how you spell functions. Functions Core Tools. Because like, if we can't install it this way either, then we're going to have to install it. Then we're going to have to install it this way. So we'll do it inside of the container that got generated for us, just to make sure that it does work. Because like theoretically, this is just the Azure that's not how you spell functions. Functions Core Tools. Because yeah, if we can't install it this way either, then we've got other problems to deal with. But because it's now running through NVM, which is not going into like the system paths, like theoretically, it's worked better. Nice. Okay, close. Now I wonder if I can like disconnect. I have to delete that code space. Come over here. We'll get status. Just add. And then we're adding function core tools to Docker container. No, Docker image. Okay, and then in the dev container, I want to add a couple more extensions, the ones that we're going to actually need. So we've got VS Code, C# tooling, which we need. We're going to need Ironide, because we've got the F# stuff here. So copy extension ID. So add that one. We want the functions tooling. Functions. Actually, we might also install. Oh no, we don't know. Should we install our 1984 theme so we can go like this cool retro one? And I just know that someone is going to go, it's not that cool. And for that, I say, too bad. Copy extension ID. So we're going to chuck in editor config as well, just because I like having editor config. I'm not sure if I set and if there is an editor config file in here, but good habit to have that anyway. And then I don't think there's anything else that we would really need. Yeah, I think everything else is just kind of by default. Yeah, we don't need the Azure stuff. But Azure, ESLint now, we don't need any of those. Get our pull requests. I think we'll get that anyway. Okay, so we're going to commit git add -a commit adding required extensions. Now I did find that I could override the workspace, wasn't it? Adding environment variables. No. Another local mount. Containers, nope. So maybe if we just set the workspace mount. Override the default mount point for the workspace when the container is created. No, I think no, it's going to be workspace. So we could probably use the workspace mount to change where you only load in the code. So just end up at this location. But as we know from the repository, there's the docs and the save points and things like that, which people are possibly going to want. What we want instead is probably the workspace folder to be SRC. So we want to land in the source folder. That's where we're going to want to land, I think, inside of the SRC folder. And then we're just changing the default workspace folder, changing workspace folder. Okay, and then we'll push. Hey, Glenn. Welcome aboard. We are actually going to be wrapping up fairly shortly. I'm getting hungry. It's lunchtime. But I just want to see whether or not I did get this correct. And we can now load the workshop into the new dev container with the extensions and everything else that we need. So now back on the branch, on the serverless branch. Go to workspaces. Let's delete the one that we created 7 minutes ago. And then we're going to go open. Yes, you're back in Perth. Yes, 2 hour delayed. Hey, you can just rewatch the stream when it stops and see the hour and 57 minutes that you missed beforehand. They were riveting, as Amy and Jack can attest to. Although I'm pretty sure Jack wasn't here for the whole time. Nearly done. Yes, we're playing with code spaces today. So basically the idea today, Glenn, was that I wanted to see if I could get the application that we've been building or refactoring more accurately, running entirely in code spaces, and it has gone okay. I think that's the way we've described it. It's gone okay. Awesome. It looks like something errored. So I've just hosed this code space. What's the error that is? Docker processed error exited with exit code 2. That's a useful exit code. I knew I should have done a Docker build. Knew it. All right, let's just go Docker build -t test. Okay, so I've got an unexpected syntax error. Whoa, whoops. Now, did I not need to? I don't need to slash on that. Let's have a look. Let's go back to our source, the one that we're copy and pasting from. Yeah, it needs a semicolon. Just like JavaScript, I need semicolons. No, I don't want you to remove your indents. Save like that. Glad to see you fell asleep, Amy, that the soothing, dulcet tones of my voice are enough to put anyone to sleep. Okay, this is going better. Looks like the script, yep, cool. The script's parsed. Nope, not that. Term create. Let's create a new terminal. Get the status. Commit. Adding semicolons to Docker to bash script. Push, oops, git push. Now you don't need semicolons in JavaScript, you're right, Amy, but it's a better idea to put semicolons in. Ooh, boom, we still got an error. So it hasn't worked. Okay, so we're still getting that permission denied on trying to install the function core tools. Interesting. Let's try and do it as just an entirely separate run step. I've moved the semicolon up to there, and then I'm just going to do a whole new run. That. No, don't break my indents. Okay. Let's try this build again. All right. That script is long. At least if I put this install into a separate step, it should speed up the builds faster because I don't need to do this massive bash script each time. So we'll be able to reuse that layer. Okay. Oh wow, it's installed. Wait, you could install sudo as a package? I didn't know that. Oh, that's going to fix another problem that I've got in an entirely different project. Glenn, no, this is not a Windows host. So this is entirely done in the browser, and it's the Linux host is the default for code spaces. So yeah, I'm doing this just off Linux things. It looks like I can't install this with inside of a Docker container. I'm going to have to go away and try and work that out. It seems weird because I know I can do it once the container is running. It's obviously the user who the command is being run as that it doesn't like during that. So yeah, I'm going to have to go away and have a dig into this and work out how I can set a different user. Yeah. Well, that's a bugger to kind of wrap up on. I'll see if I can figure it out between now and next week, and we'll pick up from here next week instead. Because I don't know where this problem's going to be. I don't really want to. I could shift it so you have to do it as a step once the container starts, but I really don't want to do it that way. Yeah. Oh well. Thanks for everyone who sat through and joined me on this one. I was really wanting to get Codespaces up and running this time, but yeah, I don't know why that node module. Well, sorry, I wanted to get the custom Codespace up and running, but I don't know why that's not installing, because we proved that when we launched the container, we could install into it, and that path is something that we have access to. But yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong there. I'll go away and I'll do my research, and we'll hopefully fix that next week. But we're back, Friday next week, midday Sydney time, for your early morning there, Glenn. But anyway, I will catch you all next time.